Hello, welcome into the Pixie Dust podcast. Tony Colombo here again with me to talk a little bit about our favorite thing in the world, even when it's not open, and that is Disney World. And if you know the kind of guy that Tony Colombo is, you know he wouldn't put a Pluto hat on for anything, but he has to do it. So
He's the kind of guy that wears a Pluto hat on a podcast about Disney World.
I think that the interesting thing about knowing you, Tony, and being able to have this conversation with you when we talk about Disney World is that you and I are both not the type of people. I think once people get to know us, I think the idea that we would be this in love with Disney World is probably kind of shocking to people, but it's because we are who we are that makes Disney World be a necessity, especially at a time like now all over the country.
Anybody knows who I am knows how out of character it is to start the podcast with a Pluto hat on and just be as goofy. Well, I don't know. I guess I am kind of goofy sometimes, Pluto. But that's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, you're right. It brings out the kid in all of us.
Yeah. So last time you and I talked, we discussed our upcoming Disney World vacations, and we discussed, are they still on? And my vacation starts at the end of July, 9 days after all 4 parks are going to be open. And you have 2 booked for 2020. When are those taking place?
The last day of August, we leave for the first one. And then the week before Christmas is the second one. So August 31st and then December 18th. Like December 15th or something like that.
So when we discussed this, it was last week, we both said our trips are all still on. We hadn't canceled any of those trips. I have not yet canceled my trip. I am still fully intending on going, but I'm watching the news as it continues to come out about this being open and that not being open. We are staying at 3 different resorts over our 11-day stay starting in January: Old Key West, Beach Club, and Boardwalk. And we got the news this week that Stormalong Bay, which is the iconic water experience that is at Beach Club, where there's a sand bottom pool and there's slides and there's a lazy river. It's really one of the 2 main reasons you booked the Beach Club. The other being that you're as close to Epcot as you possibly can be. It's a short walk and you're there. Stormalong Bay is said to be closed during the initial phased opening. I don't know what that means. Nobody knows what that means other than that they haven't said it's going to be open at a specific time.
Right.
We have then recently, it was like 24, 48 hours later, they said Beach Club, people staying at Beach Club who would not be able to use Stormalong Bay will be able to go over to Boardwalk and use the Luna Pool. Have you ever seen the clown pool at Boardwalk?
No, I have not.
Heck. Are you a clown person? Do they bother you? I mean, you're not a fan. They kind of do. I'm going to send you. I can't wait for you to see this pool. It's like, it's an interesting.
I don't have the fear of clowns that many people have, but you don't
want to be in a room full of them.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to send you. If I send you something right now, if I send you an email or something, will you be able to get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to send you a picture of this pool because it is something to behold. So, but regardless, there's a really cool slide there that does involve the clown thing. I'm going to tweet it at you. And it is a consolation to Stormalong Bay. But like I said, there's nothing like Stormalong Bay. Beach Club and Stormalong Bay go hand in hand. So there's the computer. So
that's my email booting up.
I was watching for the Stormalong Bay information, the announcement that it would be open to come along as the guarantee that I will be there with bells on. And so I kind of got like a middle ground notification. And I said to my kids, I'm telling them everything up front. I don't want any nasty surprises when we get there because it's cost too much money to be disappointed when you get there because of something.
Right.
And I was like, do you still want to go to Disney? They're like, heck yeah, it's still Disney, Mom. And I'm like, there's my kids. So far our trip is still on. What about you guys?
That's exactly the way that we are handling this at this point. We are so far still on. We are willing to take some limitations. We're willing to, if certain things are closed or if certain lines are longer or things are different, that's okay. But there is, and I don't know exactly where it is yet, but there is a point where it becomes not worth it.
Yeah.
And we're not there yet. And I can't even vocalize exactly where that line is, because I don't think I could, I don't think I know just off the top of my head, like, what's the ultimatum? What's the line in the sand that
is it different
can't cross
for the people in your family? Because I have three kids 10 and under, so they're doing whatever we say. Like they don't really have a say, so to speak, in the matter. But you've got a teenager, and you've got obviously your wife and then two other kiddos. So I could definitely see how you might want to factor in a few more.
I think my kids are on the extreme side of, if it's even open at all, they want to go.
Yep.
My wife is on the other side, and she loves Disney World, but she loves Disney World because of all the things that Disney World has and offers. And she's like, that's why Disney World is special. That's what sets Disney World apart, is all of the services and all of the nooks and crannies and cool things that exist throughout. And so if they start taking that stuff away, then it's not Disney World anymore to her. So she's more that way, and I'm kind of right between the two. I'm willing to probably sacrifice a little bit more than my wife is, but I'm not just gonna go because it's open, like my kids would. Like a big one would be the pool. Like we stay at the Polynesian. The pool at the Polynesian is a huge deal. If we couldn't have the pool, then it wouldn't be worth going.
That's been the biggest one for me. So I don't know. It's almost like they knew that, and they were kind of like, I really do believe that they are putting out all of the bad news right now.
We talked about this last week. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, that's an interesting theory, that they're trying to scare you and make you cancel your trip if you that's pretty, that could be true. I could see that being the case.
It's much better to have guests cancel their own trips, even if they are a little disappointed, than if Disney cancels your trip, you want Disney to do the Disney make good. You know what I'm saying? Like and they did that for so many people because of the early cancellations. And then after they did that, they had to take back the free dining experience. So I don't think that they want to be canceling people's trips. So, if they have that mentality of,
they don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, you can cancel it.
I'm going to make you break up with me.
Exactly.
Even though I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, I'm going to make you break up with me so I can go, hey, you broke up with me. What are you talking about? I didn't.
I did that once.
I may have as well.
Yeah. It was probably necessary. I think that the other thing that comes along with that too, the way I'm seeing it, and we discussed this last week as well, that the reason you love Disney, this is a point you made last week, and I'm reiterating because it's so important. The reason you love Disney is because of how they handle situations when things start to go bad. Disney overcorrects and makes sure that your experience turns into a positive. I don't believe that they are going to take the people who are going to be there and have them leave disappointed. I don't know what that means. I don't think that we're going to, come home with like troves of free souvenirs or whatever, but for every experience, I don't think we're going to be sitting around Disney World being bored. And I don't think that we're going to be sitting around Disney World unable to eat anywhere. You might have to be more flexible, but it's like I said last week as well. If I don't know what percentage of Disney World you can take in an 11-day trip, 25%, maybe if you work really hard. I'm just going to adjust that 25% that I'm going to take in.
Right.
And I would imagine your first trip is in September?
Last day of August. So yeah.
Okay. So for me, June 5th is when Florida went into phase 2, and phase 3, I think, is like the last phase. It's not. Illinois has 5 phases. Missouri, I don't even know if Missouri's like, we're back, we're good.
Yeah.
So it's very different all across the country, but we have information coming out regarding coronavirus on a daily basis. The latest here is that asymptomatic carriers very rarely spread it around. I really believe that by the end of July, that it's going to look different. I don't know what Disney's going to do differently from a legal standpoint, but I do believe that come July, the end of July, mid-July when they open, the end of July when I'm there, that it isn't going to be exactly the way it looks like it's going to be now. Because look back 40 days from now, there's an entirely different scenario then. So I can't imagine that it's not going to change a bit.
Yeah. And like we said, like you just said, and I said last week, it's in the Disney DNA of the people that run the resorts, the staff members at the resorts, in the parks, in all the different stores. It's in their DNA to make sure that everybody has a special time, and they over deliver. And I am certain that on the ground response from the people that work there is not going to change. They are still going to deliver that same Disney service, the same Disney magic, the same, over the top customer experience that they have always done. So that gives me hope that even if there are a few things that are unavailable or things that are closed, that they are going to still ensure that everybody has that magical Disney experience. So
that would be the real
that helps me hold on,
for Disney, not being open, not being closed.
Yeah.
The real catastrophe would be that when guests came back with their wallets open, which is what you pretty much do when you go to Disney World, if they didn't handle that correctly, that will get out so fast. I went and I regret it. I went and I shouldn't have. You want to talk about a PR nightmare. I mean, they are going to need to keep people on the edge of their seat to be able to get back in. Next year's the 50th anniversary. They're going to need to keep all of these guests who are postponing their trips wanting to come back and wanting to get in there as soon as possible, so that when they do decide to open the door a little bit more and a little bit more and more people, that there is not any, like, if the initial 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of guests was not worth my money, then they're going to have a huge problem on their hands for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
Yeah. Or the people that, if the people that have that once in a lifetime trip, if they are having a bad experience and then that word is getting out, or maybe even more damaging, would be the people that do go regularly, that talk about that know that Disney mantra and, the way that they operate, and to come back and say and report that things have changed.
Yeah.
I think that would be even more damaging, that people who go on a regular basis and have the various, YouTube channels and podcasts like this one, and we come back on here and go, wow, it's a totally different Disney experience. It's lost its magic. They don't have the same dedication to customer service that they used to, or they don't bend over backwards to make sure that every guest is having a great time. It's more cold and corporate. That would be horrible for Disney World.
I completely agree.
So if I just can't imagine that they would let that happen, which gives me hope that, even if you're going to Disney World in a compromised time, it's still going to be a much better experience than probably anywhere else that you could take your family.
Well, one of the things I want to read here to you, Tony, I don't know if you've gone through and read the experience updates post on the Disney World website, but this is the word straight from Disney World, which I think is important, because I've read a lot of things, a lot of articles, blogs that are saying this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then I read something, I'm like, oh, I hadn't heard that yet. And then you find out 3 paragraphs later, they're like, we're inferring that such and such is the case. And it's just like, I don't want inferences. I want what is real. And then I will wait for the rest of the information to hit. So this is straight from Disney World's website. Reopening with a new park reservation system. Magic Kingdom Park and Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park will begin a phased reopening on July 11th, with Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios reopening on July 15th. The parks will reopen with some important updates to promote physical distancing, including park reservations. Initially, park attendance will be managed through a new park reservation system. To enter a park, both a park reservation and valid admission for the same park on the same date is required. So I want to know what your thoughts are on this park reservation system. I think it's a great way to manage the flow of people. I think that it's very scary to think that I would have a resort reservation and not be able to get into a park. But it's also, again, I can't believe that there is going to be a scenario where there's a sizable contingent of people sitting in their hotel rooms, not able to get into a park. Maybe you can't get into the park you want every day, possibly, but there will be things for you to do, and you'll have to be flexible enough to go from one place to the other. Are you cool with this park reservation strategy, or does this intimidate you as well?
Well, the devil's in the details, right? I mean, like, we'll have to see how, like, when I book my trip, when I'm scheduling all the different things that go along with my trip, will I be able to ensure that I have the park access? Like, is that all done in one swoop? Because if it's all done in one swoop, then I'm fine, because I know where I can go and when I can go. And I know that my vacation is planned out, and there'd be no surprises. But if it's looser than that, then yeah, that could be a problem.
I think have you paid attention to Universal reopening at all this past week?
No.
I read about their virtual queue system. You get into the park, and once you get into the park, you can reserve 2 virtual queue spots. And you can also, so like if you and I are going to the park, I can reserve two different virtual queues, and I can add you as part of my party. So I can put you on it, and you can reserve 2 spots and add me as part of your party. So then you get to like reserve 4 spots. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But you don't get to do it until you get in the park. And it works very much like a fast pass does, but they're 30-minute windows. And then you reserve your spot, and then you get a QR code on your phone, and you show that when you get to the line. So, and once it's expired, it's expired. I did see some people saying there's some technical issues with sometimes people would disappear. And so that their advice was screenshot the QR code so that you have it. So if it disappears, that you retain it. But I've heard and read a lot of people talking about how potentially Disney wants to get away from you have to start planning your Disney World vacation 6 months in advance. And if you want to go and you didn't start planning it 6 months in advance, you're at a huge disadvantage, which is why they talked about moving the dining reservations to 60 days out instead of 180 days. I'm wondering if fast passes come back at 60 days ahead, and now I have to do fast passes at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever it is, and dining reservations. Ooh, that's a lot to sweat through in the morning.
That's a lot of work for Erica.
Yeah, no kidding. Reach out to Erica. That's why you need her even more.
Right. So on the virtual queue situation, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind a way to not have to stand in line and be able to move around the park and do other things while you're waiting for this to go off, especially since 30-minute window is about as tight as it can be.
Yeah.
It needs to be at least that. And so that's about right, I think. That way, if you are in a line
somewhere,
or if you're eating,
kids
or if
gotta
you're
go
halfway,
pee.
or if you're halfway across, if you're on the complete other side of the park, and you need 30 minutes to get to these places. I actually don't mind that at all, but I do think and hope that Disney continues to offer perks to people that are willing to pay for it, and I'm sure they will, because they're always willing to help out people that are willing to pay for it.
Sure.
So I like the idea of the virtual queue, but I hope that we're still able to, if you want to go to that level, that you're still able to purchase a package that has fast passes and maybe an opportunity to, I see that question from Brad. Yeah. Oh yeah. You definitely plan your Disney vacation 6 months in advance.
Brad says, wow, you had to plan your Disney vacation 6 months in advance. No, that's not true. You have to have it all the way prepared 6 months in advance so that you can get the reservations that you want to get. So you're probably starting to plan it 7 or 8 months in advance, unless you're cramming for your final at the last minute. So
yeah, if you want to make sure that you get the fast passes for the rides that you want, you need to have all of that done like the day that the day that they make them available to you.
And not just the day, but the morning. Like you want to be when they open the system, it is super hyper competitive.
Yeah. Otherwise you could lose them.
I'm super hyper competitive. So I see it as a challenge in a game. But then if you don't get what you were hoping to get, then you've got to reconfigure things. So I feel like they're trying to get away from that.
Yeah, which is good. Which I got no problem with that. But I do want the option to, if you want to pay for it, the option to get those fast passes still, to book your dining a little bit earlier than other people can, to make sure that
especially if you're staying on resort.
I don't think anybody, I don't want anybody to be locked out of everything. But if you're willing to, like we save up for these trips. We put a lot of time and effort and eliminate other things so we can afford to go to Disney and experience, and go for a longer period of time and experience a lot of things while we're there. So, if I'm willing to make those sacrifices to have the vacation that I want, I hope that those options are still there too. Yeah. But I have no problem with that virtual queue. I actually think that's a pretty good idea. It does sound like a technical nightmare. It does sound like
bring your extra battery packs. You're toast if your phone's not.
Yeah,
your phone's not operating.
You're kind of already toast if your phone's not working at Disney World anyway, because everything, without the app, you're kind of lost. But if you're doing it right, at least.
For sure.
So you definitely want to make sure that you don't run out of battery, and as long as the system is working the way that it is designed to, then I think that's a great idea. But I could see that being a nightmare with people.
I definitely feel like being there 9 days after the second set of parks opens, my experience in the end of July and yours at the end of August, you're going to benefit from some of the things that we probably had to struggle with while they implement things and they don't work quite as well as they should have, or maybe restrictions are taken down a hair. So I think it'll be a very evolving process, and you'll have to continue to stay up to date with whatever the developments are. Here's the next point here under this reservation system. New ticket sales. At this time, new ticket sales are temporarily paused. Existing ticket holders and annual pass holders will be able to make reservation requests in phases before new tickets are sold. Additional details will be shared with these guests soon. How about now, Scott? That would be great. And new ticket sales will resume after that period of time. So this is where, as a potentially a Disney apologist is saying, as a resort guest, because I think that they said reservations could be made, like park reservations could maybe be made like 60 days out or 45 days out or something. They gave a time limit. Whatever that time limit is, I mean, look at my phone right now because I have the countdown. I have 45 days until I go. And I am an annual pass holder, so as an annual pass holder, should be able to, I don't have to like activate any tickets or anything when I'm down there. My annual passes are activated. I am thinking that as somebody who has a resort reservation, that I'm hoping that I get the access to book my parks before they open it up to every annual pass holder. I don't know that they will, but
as an annual pass holder, do the resorts that you stay at, do you get the like the refillable cup that you can just go into any of the restaurants at the resort and fill up for free every time, or no? I was wondering if your cup is always activated, because that's one of the like, for whatever reason in our family, that is
dining plan.
That's one of the biggest running jokes that we always have, because the cups they have a little chip in them
Mm-hmm.
that will make the fountain machines in the resort work.
It knows when it's active
24/7. Like you can walk down, and I've done it at 2 a.m, walked out of my room and down to the lobby or into one of the restaurants there and gotten myself a soda in the middle of the night. And yeah, the little chip in the cup is what activates the fountain soda. And for whatever reason, it's always it doesn't line up perfectly with your trip. Like your cup is activated for like a week longer than
it's a little bit longer.
So the joke, like we'll be at home and I'll have one of my cups and I'll be like, did you know this is still working? Like if we were there right now,
I could go have a Diet Coke right now.
And we love that. Like we're always joking that. And like if you had, this is how stupid my family is. If you had, like with your annual pass that you have, if you had a cup there in your house and you were like, yeah, this is always activated.
Always
I can
good.
go my kids would be like, whoa, that's amazing.
Well, you can
tell that'd be the coolest thing we ever saw, which is dumb.
I think it has to do with I think you get it free with your dining plan, which they've canceled all dining plans now. So we can put that on the.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. I wonder how we get our sodas now.
Well, you can buy them. You can buy the cups just in the gift shop. And I think that it's attached to your stay. I don't think it's attached to your ticket. So gotcha. I'm not as cool as your kids.
Because picking our cup is a big deal because it's like a free souvenir.
Yeah.
Because it comes as, like you said, it's part of your package.
Not free, included.
Included. That's a great point.
Big difference.
So you are so right. It's included. And, and every time of the year, they have like the little scenes on the cup are a little bit different. That they have, the standard sort of scene when there's nothing going on. And then like during Halloween, they have the Halloween cups. And during Christmas, they have the Christmas themed cups. And there's usually 3 or 4 different options that you can choose from. And like the color, like sometimes they might have the same scene on it, but they have a little bit of a different color scheme.
Have you seen the new ones that they came out with, like within the last 6 months? They're metal tumblers, and you can pay 10. Well, again, back in the Disney dining plan days, you got the cup free that Tony's talking about, but you could pay $10, and it's like a coffee thermos kind of a thing, but they're a lot nicer. I would not take the cup that you get included.
I love a good tumbler.
I wouldn't take it out. Plus, it's got a handle on it, so it doesn't fit in cup holders in my car, which is kind of unfortunate. The tumbler does, and for $10, a $10 souvenir at Disney World is still cheap. So I still intend to buy one of those if at the resorts we stay at they still work. But I don't know how they're going to do self-service.
The cups are a big deal for us. It's so funny, like everybody picks their cup, and they're all the cups are in our cabinet at home. Yeah. And if my 9-year-old goes into the cabinet and grabs a Disney cup and it's one that my 17-year-old or 16-year-old like picked while she was there, like there's a fight. Like, that's my cup. That's not your cup. That's my cup.
Disney bringing families together.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail everything on
the
cup talk.
The last point here under this park reservation system heading here on the Disney website is new Disney Resort hotel reservations. At this time, new reservations, and we're recording this on Tuesday, June 9th, so this will change. At this time, new reservations at Disney Resort hotels are temporarily paused so we can focus on guests with existing reservations. Disney Vacation Club members can still make new reservations. Reservations will resume after that period of time.
Special people.
I'm going to talk one of these episodes that we do, and you're
going to talk me into being a DVC.
I'm going to talk Tony into buying into DVC because it was designed for people like you and me.
I think that's a really smart move by Disney because there's a lot of vacations that were canceled.
Well, and the other thing too is Disney Vacation Club is an entirely different entity that has actual laws because it's a version of a timeshare, like state laws that it has to adhere to.
So they can't just wipe out. Yeah,
because you bought a stake in something.
You own a piece of it essentially. Yeah. So they can't tell. Right. So there's different. You're right. There's different rules and laws. But I have no problem with them suspending all new reservations for now because there are so many vacations. There's so many trips that got canceled during the pandemic that they need to go back and focus on those people and see if they can, either reschedule. They need to take care of. Yeah, they need to take care of all those people first, and see if they can, do whatever they can do to do right by the people who had their vacations canceled. If our trip would have fallen in that window where the park was closed, then I would want Disney to be focusing on me and getting our trip rescheduled rather than,
taking on new
talking to somebody who's like, oh, right now is a great time to go because people aren't, traveling right now. I'm going to book my trip. Right. And then all of a sudden somebody else has got a trip booked. Mine's canceled. And I haven't even heard anything from Disney. Like, that doesn't surprise me that they're focusing on those people first.
So Brad comments here, and we're streaming this live on YouTube. This is going to be uploaded at the Pixie Dust podcast, where you can get it at radio.com or anywhere you get podcasts. Brad, I'm going to tease you to a different episode that we did. You said, so since you're talking about money, how much per person would you say it costs for an 11-day Disney vacation? Erica Murphy and I did an episode on exactly that. And it was like a family of 4, and it was about how you can go from a value resort. You can do, if you want to be there and you want to figure out, I have to figure out how to afford this, and you want to try to do it as low budget as you can, your Disney World vacation is still going to be amazing. Value resorts at Disney, while that might sound like, if you're thinking in your head like a 1-star or 2-star hotel or a motel, oh my gosh, no. It's all the Disney way. Most of what makes something of value is the size of the whole resort and the proximity to the actual park locations, the amenities,
and the transportation to those parks and amenities. But a
value resort,
the ease of transportation,
the stay is still going to be amazing. The experience is still going to be amazing.
The service is still going to be amazing.
You're going to be very glad you spent the money. If you want to be super close, like Tony is and his family are obsessed with the Polynesian. It's a boat ride, a monorail ride. Can you take a bus to the? I don't even know, to the Magic Kingdom. You can. They still have buses, but it's super easy to get to the Magic Kingdom from the Polynesian.
Yeah, you would never do that, but you can.
Yeah, I like to stay at the Epcot resorts because it's next to. You can walk right into Epcot, but you can also walk to Hollywood Studios. It's a little bit of a longer walk, but I've done it and it's not bad at all. You can also take boat rides, and the Skyliner is now on that as well. Yeah. So
the problem with that, with trying to answer that question, Brad, is to Annie's point. There are so many different price points. I don't know if you can see that, but I was getting a phone call right there. So
muted out, just you soft muted a little bit.
Sorry about that. But yeah, there's just so many different levels of a Disney vacation, and it completely depends on what resort you're staying at, what type of package you're taking advantage of, how much you want included in your package. Do you want all your food? Well, I guess you can't anymore right now you can't have the food included. Yeah.
What you need to do is you need to figure out what you think you could budget for it. Like, what's your minimum budget? And then you need to, as we have up here, email Erica because she's great. Yeah. She's planned for both Tony and myself multiple vacations. And you, Tony, we got to run here, but you even said to her, your late August trip, you said, I can't do this. The only way I could do it is if I got it under this amount of money. And she did it.
And she did it. And she did it at the Polynesian. It's the cheapest Polynesian trip I've ever heard of, which is amazing. And
and the Polynesian isn't
Erica made that happen. Yeah. No, it's one of the higher ones. And like, just to finish off the answer to Brad, I don't know when I'd be able to afford an 11-day vacation at the Polynesian for my 5-person family. Yeah. So that's just one of the, that's where we want to stay. So we make, we have to cut some things. You put
your money where it's important for you.
Right. We want to stay at the Polynesian. So we go for 5 days instead of 10 days because we can stay for 5 days at the Polynesian at the price that we want. It's just so hard. Because that's the number one question people ask is like, well, just ballpark me an idea. If I want to take my family to Disney World, how much would it cost? There are so many factors.
Yeah.
Like if you want to outline all of those different factors, then maybe I can help you kind of gauge an idea, but just to ballpark a figure is impossible. I know we're way out of time, so
that's okay. But Erica is absolutely fantastic at working with people, and she will be one of the very first people to know when things open up again. So you can email Erica at magicexpeditions.com with any questions you have. She is the least pressuring type of a person ever. You're not, she's not going to be,
she's so great.
Trying to sell you something you don't want. She's going to be very accommodating, and she's wonderful. And
you don't have to pay for it. Yeah. She's free.
Yeah. It costs you nothing and you extra. And honestly, in both Tony and my situations, we've saved money because we've used Erica. So thousands literally
because of Erica.
Well, thank you for coming on here with us, and good to see you. Thanks for donning the Pluto hat, as always. Is great. And we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. See you soon. Bye.